Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Progress, partners, and getting paid. Hey, it's your girl LaShonda Henry here, aka Sister Sense, always jumping on here so I can share some smart things you can do to work on your money, your marketing, and your sales goals too. You ever notice how short people like to keep their legs like really close to I'm always either in what do you call it? I don't know, crisscross or applesauce. I don't know. I'm always uh, huddled very tightly. Hello, guys. I'm super excited to talk to you as always. So let's dig in today, okay? But before we get started, let me say this. Number one, make sure that you tag a business bestie and share this out. Bring them in the building, so we can talk about business. Bring them in the virtual building. And number two, if you haven't already done so, make sure that you turn on alerts and notifications so you can see when I'm live, so you can jump on live with me. So let's dig into the conversation today, okay? So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is progress, because yesterday we had a great session on just that, right? And talking about some things that you can do to progress in your business. And I wanted to continue that conversation. So progress is one of my personal focus words for this week. Out of curiosity, if you've got a word that you're focused on, and this week in particular, do you mind dropping that into the comment box for me? What's your motivator word for this week? Okay, that's number one. Now, number two, with respect to progress, I talked about being in a space where you document your process. And in doing that documentation, we talked about that yesterday, that can help you progress on multiple levels, right? One of the things that I am personally working on is writing a few new ebooks, number one. And number two, writing show notes, because I'm always jumping on here and sharing some great recommendations with you. And sometimes I feel like some of that might get lost, especially in the translation of here's one link and here's two links and things of that nature, right? So a couple of weeks ago, I said, look, if you go over to sistersense.com/GAGD for growth and great days. You can sign up to Sister Sense via Messenger, and I'll start sending out these show notes over there. And guess what? Haven't quite started that yet. Because you ever notice how things, you go, oh, this sounds like a good idea, and you add it to the to-do list, and then it starts to become a snowball, and it becomes a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger idea. Because I mentioned that like a week or two ago, and I've been doing these lives, and so I've got a lot of lives that I need to translate into show notes, and I'm like, oh, this is too much. My schedule is already crazy, right? So what I decided to do was actually go and create show notes for at least 3 of the shows, so I could send out a PDF today for the ladies who signed up for that, right? So that's something that I want you to think about as far as progress is concerned. Are you in a space where you want to progress on some level, but you feel like whatever it is that thing that it is that you want to do, the to-do list keeps piling up? It's so big to you that it's like, I don't even know how I'm going to chip away at that. It's just too much, right? Especially those of you out there, my mompreneurs, my 9-to-5 entrepreneurs, you're like, man, I want to do this, but it entails this, and you keep avoiding it, right? So number one, I had mentioned to you guys, when it comes to productivity, there are certain books that I absolutely love. One of them is called Eat the Frog, right? You eat the frog. The hardest thing that you got to do that first, and then chip away at other things, right? And I think that I shared the link to that list with you, sistersense.com/F words. F words. I was talking about 5 F words that every entrepreneur should know. And in that conversation, I shared several of my favorite books, productivity and Bossup books with you guys. And Eat the Frog is one of them. So for me, being able to say, okay, I'm going to, number one, eat this frog that's eating me. It's eating at me, because for the last 2 weeks, I've been promising the show notes and I haven't started that yet. Thank you for the hearts and the love, by the way, the thumbs up and all that stuff. Feel free to tweet and share this, because sharing is what it's all about, right? I said, okay, it keeps sitting on my list. It's eating at me. I'm going to do 3. At least three. Write the show notes for that so I can build on the momentum, right? That's progress. Identify something on your list that maybe is piling up for you. You can start with at least 2 to 3 pieces and progress. That's number one. Number two is getting paid. I'm gonna talk about getting paid and then I'll talk about partnerships. Okay. So there have been a few, because I'm always dropping some good on you, right? I've shared a few of my resources and new programs over the last few weeks. One of them is my Daily Domination Implementation Program, and DDIP is 365 days, right? So it's an opportunity for you and I to work together ongoing. And that particular program, there's both a one-time payment and then there is a payment plan, right? And that's one example that I'm going to talk to you about getting paid. Okay. Another example is one of my breakthrough bundles, right? So one of my breakthrough bundles, I said, okay, I feel like I'm tongue tied. I think I said bundles. One of my breakthrough bundles includes 5 calls with me, 5 months of my mastermind, and the 5 point business plan, right? And a few ladies reached out to me and said, man, I really want that. I've got a few things going on in my life right now. Can you offer some sort of a payment plan for that? And I said, yeah, absolutely, right? Now, I say that to say this. On both examples, there is a payment option, right? There's full payment, number one. Number two, for DDIP, because it's 1 year, there's a monthly subscription payment, right? So that's subscription based. And then for the breakthrough bundle, because it's a great rate. It's, I think right now it's about $300. I've divided that into a 3 part payment plan for those ladies who say, man, I want it, but I can't necessarily do that rate right now, right? So you want to think about what you're doing to get paid when it comes to the offers you're creating and what you're doing to get paid consistently. Okay. Those are 2 questions I want you to ask yourself right now. What you're doing to get paid consistently and what you're doing to get paid when it comes to those HPP high price point offers that you're creating. So in my case, I'm doing 2 things. Every single year, you'll notice that I release a new program. I released a new version of my mastermind. I have some form of a continuity experience. Continuity means you are consistently generating revenue, right? Does that make sense? Hello, welcome, my dears. Fabulous. Welcome, Veronica. I don't have my glasses on, so it's a little hard to see who's on here live with me. But that's something that I want you to consider. Now, let me see if I can get on Facebook as well. I always forget to turn this phone on. But I want you to consider that because some of you are trying to generate consistent revenue. Who has some sort of continuity program where you're offering something on a monthly basis? Okay. I've got several continuity programs so that I know that one of the ways I'm able to, one of the secrets in the sauce of creating a sustainable business and consistently getting paid is having some sort of subscription based program that some of your clients and customers can tap into. Okay. That's number one. Number two, on the flip side of that, is thinking about when you do offer HPP high price point products, being in a space where you give people the opportunity to either make a full payment or a partial payment. And that definitely, I can tell you, helps me close more deals. And sometimes I may just have like what, okay, it's 300, it's 400 and 500, and it's just that. And then clients will reach out to me and ask for the opportunity to break that down into smaller pieces, and I'll do it, because I want to make sure that I'm creating experiences and opportunities to work with the people who want to work with me. Okay. Now, that being said, number one, like I mentioned before, out of curiosity, who currently has some sort of continuity program? But if you do not have one, and my apologies, I'm looking down so I can get on Facebook and check in with you guys over there. Hello, Donnie. Hello, Miss E. Good morning. Good morning. One of the things you can consider is if you don't have a continuity program, number one, you can do simple subscription buttons on PayPal. But me personally, I love to be able to not only have a continuity program, but to automatically capture new customers and add them to my email list. So for that, I use the Samcart platform, which is, you can find out more about Samcart. They have what they call one-page sales funnels that you can quickly create. And they're over at suspense.com/Samcart. That's my link to the Samcart one-page sales funnel platform. Two things that's really great about Samcart. Number one, then you have a launch level, so that you can get some of their great features at a significant reduced rate. That's number one. And number two, they have the opportunity for you to create subscriptions and payment plans, which of some of you do not have, that you should have. More opportunities for people to be able to get that offer, but get it at a reduced rate or a broken down installment plan rate, right? And then, as I mentioned before, and the big number three for me is that when people sign up to my products and or services via Samcart, they're automatically transferred onto my email list because I use Samcart in combination with ConvertKit, and the two of them integrate really well together. Okay. Now, if any of that is going over your head, it's okay. It could be that you're a beginner, and that's fine. When I started, I was building subscription buttons using the PayPal platform. But me personally, I love the ease of Samcart. And honestly, if you think about it, if you are really looking to optimize your sales, you want to use the best platforms out there, the greatest platforms out there when it comes to sales optimization. So for me, when it comes to getting paid, I'm always thinking about, number one, what continuity program am I going to create and really showcase this year? I have several programs, DDIP being one of them. I'm always thinking about, number two, if I'm going to offer something that's a higher price point, how I'm also going to create a space for people to purchase that in installments, right? Because that's important. And then number three, I'm always thinking about the fact that while I love PayPal all day and every day, not everybody does, right? Nobody is going to come out and tell you, well, maybe most people aren't, but some people will say, I don't use that platform, but some people honestly don't. They'll just go, oh, they don't, have an option that works for me, right? And I found that, 50-50. Some people sign up and they'll pay with PayPal, and other people don't. And just out of curiosity, as a consumer, what's your personal preference? Do you like paying with PayPal or do you not? Me personally, I like it. It's a convenience factor. I already have funds in my PayPal, so it's easier just to pay that than go look for the credit card. So it's like the lazy girl's way, right? Also, it's kind of like that middleman between your credit card, there's PayPal. So you can use your PayPal versus that. That's some of us, right? And then there are other people who honestly, they don't like using PayPal for whatever reason, right? And because that's the case, if you are selling only with PayPal, they are, you got something else? Or they don't say that and they just walk away. So when I use the Samcart platform, funny enough, some of the ladies that were at my weekend workshop a few weeks ago, they signed up to another platform that I recommended, which is Stripe. So I'm curious to see, number one, those of you who are participating live, do you use PayPal exclusively? Do you use something else? Do you like PayPal or not? Do you have an alternative like Stripe, right? So for me, I use the stripe.com platform as well in tandem with PayPal because they both integrate really well with Samcart. And I find that honestly, in my experience, I get a half and half. Some people use PayPal, some people prefer to put in their credit card information and get processed through the Stripe platform. So it's a little bit of both, but you want to think about, number one, how you're going to get paid this week, but what you're going to do to work on your consistent revenue, right? So continuity programs and installment plans help with that. And what you're going to do to create easier, better payment processes for your audience. Okay. Like it. Good. Hey, Taj Cosmetics. Welcome, welcome. I need to create that. What do you need to create? I'm sorry, I missed that. I love PayPal and my customers. It protects my customers and myself. Yeah, I personally love PayPal. Stripe is a really good alternative, so that you can use both of them together. They will just use the program. Good morning to you, my dear. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, good. So I'm like looking on Facebook and Instagram and all these different devices at at once. Okay, so we talked about number one, We talked about progress, right? And I just kind of shared some of the things that I'm doing in my personal process to progress, especially when I feel like things are piling up. So that's something to consider, number one. And number two, getting paid. So I shared with you a few recommendations as far as payment plans and what I've integrated into my business. Funny enough, I am actually in the process of working with one of my longtime clients. Absolutely love them. And we're working on a really big project, or at least we're getting started on working on a really big project because, he said, okay, this is what I want to do. And I sent him over a quote and he said, you know what? Literally before I got on this live, he was like, you know what? I would love it if we could do X amount every 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, no problem. So after this, I'm actually going to be working on putting together a payment plan that I can share with him. That's an alternative to what I've already shared, because I always want to accommodate, my clients in a way that also is accommodating for me as well. You can't bend over backwards for people, and then go, this doesn't work for me, right? That you can't work your business that way. So I'm always about offering my clients different packages so they can pick the one that works for them. And as needed, if I do need to create a custom payment plan, I will, right? Not always, because sometimes what I have is just what I have, but it's on a case by case basis. So food for thought for those of you looking to close more deals, get paid, and diversify your payment options, right? Again, if you're not familiar with the Samcart platform, you can go over to sistersense.com/Samcart. Take a look, check it out. Let me know what you think. Okay. So, last thing that I'm going to talk about today is partnerships. Why? Because today is a great day. I'm actually later on this evening going to be leading a live masterclass session for one of the amazing business besties in my circle. So I'm going to be leading a masterclass for her people, right? And that's something that I always like to do. I'm not really a full-time speaker. I come on here, I do these lives with you, but I don't travel a lot and do a lot of speaking and get engagements. Mostly just kind of my stuff and when people ask me. And I always am also open to those because that helps you get in front of more people. So one of the things I want you to think about today is who you're partnering with, what events you have on your calendar for this quarter or even going into the next one that's going to get you in front of more people. It's going to get you more exposure, right? So I always like to do podcast interviews. If you've got a podcast and you'd like me to be on it, email sistersense@gmail.com, number one. And number two, if you have a community, a group of business owners and entrepreneurs, and you would love to have somebody come and teach that group, you can reach out to me as well. There's always something. I'm like, what is that? It's always something in there. My locks, they just static, magnetic, attract random things. But again, if you have a group and you'd like me to speak to your group and do a session, or if you've got a podcast, I am open and ready. So feel free to email sistersense@gmail.com. Now, you see how easy it was for me to ask that question. I always tell you guys to ASK, stretch your ask muscles and get your ask in gear, right? I don't know who's watching here and says, you know what, LaShonda, I'd love to have you on. Or, oh my gosh, I remember that I wanted to email LaShonda about doing an event, right? So remember to remind your community or reach out to specific people. I don't know if you saw, I did a live stream and I talked about 5 questions every girl boss should be asking more often. And one of those is being very specific, reaching out to specific people and saying, hey, I would love to partner with you in this way, right? And one of those ways could be an interview exchange or an email newsletter swap, as they call it. Newsletter swaps are really common when you'll say, hey, can you send this out to your list for me? And in exchange, I'll send this out to my list for you, right? You got to really start to get specific. I know you want support, right? I know you want more people to help you and work with you. You got to be more specific as far as what that support and what those partnerships should look like. And are you intentionally working on those as far as your weekly to-do list is concerned? So those are a few things I'm personally working on, and you'll see me consistently remind you of those things and let you know what's going on in my world and my process, because sometimes we know things and we hear them and we go, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, but we don't actually do them, right? So I encourage you to not just think about these concepts, but actually integrating them into your business. Okay. Oh, I need to create a continuity program. Awesome. Yes. Having at least one continuity program in your business, I think, is something that everybody should have. And again, it's one of the things that I teach and I integrate in my business. There are lots of different types of continuity programs you can have, but at the very least, a simple installment plan or a simple subscription based program, those are some to start with, or at least to consider. Okay. So let's see here. I do have a partnership project for you guys today. Number one, like I mentioned before, if you have a program and you would love me to come on and teach to your audience, I love to do that kind of stuff, or a podcast, you can reach out to me and let me know. I'd love to be a guest speaker. But number two, here's something that's super, super easy to do. Okay. If you're on Twitter, anybody on Twitter? If you're on Twitter, drop your Twitter link into the comment box, whether you're watching live or via the replay. If you're on Twitter, go over to Twitter and find, and this is for those of you who are watching relatively close to when this live session is happening, right? Find this post and tweet it. This post that I'm talking today about progress, partnerships, and getting paid, retweet it, right? Or there's a graphic of my 7-day launch with leads free 7-day challenge. It's a free challenge so that I can talk to you about how to launch with leads, how to work on your list building efforts, your landing pages, and your lead magnets. Absolutely fabulous. My ladies have been loving it. It's absolutely awesome. You'll see a graphic that says free launch with leads challenge. Just quickly click the retweet button, right? Do that. And within the next 72 hours of me sharing this live, I am going to check and see who's actually retweeted a combination of this live stream video on Twitter. My Twitter, by the way, is Sister Sense, right? Twitter.com/Sister Sense. So make sure you follow. Tweet that out, or tweet the launch with leads out. And I'm going to see who's tweeting, because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick a few people to just retweet your stuff as well, right? So hopefully your Twitter account is not just like, blah, but you've got all this random stuff from everybody else's, but not enough of your stuff. Hopefully on your Twitter account, as much as you're sharing other people, as I do too, I've been sharing quite a few things of other people, the majority of your content is you. Hello? um, some people, they do have content on their social media platforms, but it's 90% of everybody else and 10% of your stuff, right? And if you want to be in a space where you're strategically building your community and you're getting paid, you want to make sure that the majority of the content is your stuff, but you're also strategically and intentionally sharing others. So when you scroll through my Twitter, you'll see that a good amount of stuff is my lives and my freebies and my resources and my tips and recommendations. But I do also have, like, I think I posted something like an interview with The Rock and Oprah recently. I posted something from the Black Twitterati. I posted a few things of other people's, but I'm also intentionally making sure that the majority of the content is mine. So check your feed, number one. But of course, number two, if you retweet one of those or both of those, that's going to give you an opportunity to get a retweet from me. And I don't want to tweet something random from your page. I want to tweet something that is really the best of what you've got to offer. So I challenge you to work on putting up some really good content on your Twitter, because if you retweet some of that good that I shared today, you just might be one of the folks that I tweet both on Sister Sense and my Black Business Women Twitter page as well, because I've got two Twitter pages, at Sister Sense and at Black Biz Women, BLACKBIZ Women, because those are two of my platforms. And I think between the two of them, I've probably got about 10,000 followers. So you might want to get a retweet from your girl. All righty, my dears. So that's it for today, okay? Make sure that you think about, when it comes to your weekly goals, what you're going to do to work on your progress, who can you potentially partner with, and how, and are you working on consistently getting paid? All right. So hopefully this has been helpful to you. If anything I've said has been helpful, feel free to drop that into the comment box for me, number one. And of course, number two, if there's something that you would like me to teach as part of these daily morning series, feel free to email your suggestions or drop them here, sistasense@gmail.com. I would love to hear what you guys would like to see as part of this web class series. Alrighty, my dears, till next time, take care. Mwah.